Welcome back, guys, to an awesome new update here at the Ridge. It is the first week of October. It has been unseasonably warm, like 85 to 88 every day, which is just crazy. About 15 to 20 degrees above the average high. It still gets cool at night, which is nice to get a nice dewy moisture fog kind of rolls in, but still it is very hot. It is very dry. However, tonight there is supposed to be a nice soaking heavy rain come through with a cold front. So ahead of that cold front, I've been working nonstop trying to get some ground tilled up and preparing to plant some cover crops, which hopefully will get watered tonight with that amazing soaking rain we desperately need so much. So let me go ahead and show you what I've done so far today and talk about the cover crops and the blends I'm going to use to try to break up some of this hard, nasty mountain clay. So let's go ahead and get started right now. So first things first, this little spot here I've been talked about in the last video when I found that snake and mouse nest. Yeah, all the baby mice. But check this out. So this is about 10 by 20. We're gonna go ahead and call it roughly. I didn't really dig it too deeply, just used the hoe here to kind of grub it up a little bit and then cultivated it to kind of smooth it out. There was a giant ridge or little hump right here in the middle. I dug that out and kind of leveled it through, which is neat. These gigantic rocks over here, which I had to dig out by hand, they were right in the middle of the area here. So at least there's that. Those are out of the way. I have no idea what I'm gonna do with those, but eventually I'll figure something out. But yeah, so I sprinkled some winter wheat right here as a trial, not only as a cover crop, but I'm actually gonna try to grow this wheat to harvest and see if I can get any kind of yield out of it. But I sprinkled a little bit of fertilizer on it, not much. The soil has pretty much nothing in it. It's very depleted, very dry, nasty clay mountain soil, which actually does have a lot of things like calcium and stuff like that from the clay content, but lacks nitrogen. So I did add a nitrogen fertilizer to this, which will hopefully get the winter wheat off to a nice start here in the fall. It'll get established before the winter does set in. The bees in the background. And the bees are active this morning, so that's a good sign. After a long cold night, the sunshine's warming up the hive and they are out foraging, which is a very, very good sign, getting ready for fall. And looking over here, this is not about the cover crops, but this is a bottle gourd. That's pretty neat, watching those things grow. Did plant these very, 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 very late in the season. And hopefully this one here, and there's one more somewhere back over there, you can't really tell. Right in there, another bottle gourd that is hopefully gonna at least be something I can play around with, kind of try to dry it, preserve it, decorate it, whatever. Moving on over here, we have some level spots here. This area gets a lot more sun than I previously thought. Back in this area here is where I initially wanted to plant some stuff, because it does stay a lot more moist, because maybe the lower terrain, water kind of pools and kind of stays there. But it doesn't get a lot of sunlight in the summertime, as it turns out. It's actually very, very, very shaded. However, this section here, you can tell with the what used to be the tomato patch, which is now just some roselle, and a couple tomatoes, finishing out their production there. But I did go ahead and dig up these two spots right here. Now this one here, along with mountain farming, mountain gardening, it's all about terracing where available. You don't want to just kind of till up an entire hillside. That'll cause erosion, right? So this little bed may not seem like much until I weed it around it, and eventually I could expand it on all four sides, but it is basically a level little area here on the hillside. Now what I like to do is when I get the, whether it be clods of dirt, clay, roots, whatnot, I'll actually pile them at the downhill slope side to act as a kind of like a water catchment, or as a little bit to collect any kind of nutrients, prevent runoff, if you will. So here in the front, you can tell this is just piles of grass and dirt and stuff like that, which should get rained down and make a little border here to keep the dirt from just washing away, which is a big problem with all agriculture to begin with, but especially on a hillside. This area here is much easier to use. Here is a very, very level, which is really nice for a mountainside here, but you can tell this area here is pretty conducive to probably growing something. Now the garden over here, it stays very, very, very moist. And I did have a fence around it, thankfully, so the deer actually didn't destroy it like they did everything else. But more on that later. This area here, I'm going to plant some jackhammer radishes and some oats as a cover crop to try to bust up some of this very hard clay soil, more as an experiment to see how well it will actually do. I'm not really going to try to till this up. I'm going to try to see how much I can do with just cover crops and tillage radishes and things like that to see if they can actually bust up clay. And eventually I will actually plant something here, but the experiment here first is the jackhammer radishes and the oats. And like I mentioned before, you can kind of tell all the way down this garden bed here, all the grass, all the clumps of roots and crap like that has all just been piled up all along the downslope side to act as a buffer from rain and things like that, washing stuff away. So a little bit of a new thing I'm trying out here, again with the cover crops. I'm going to get a good mow in here. This little area here is well overdue for some weed eating, but I've been just so busy, guys. But the season's winding down. Grass has really stopped kind of growing, so hopefully one more final push and I can actually get this under control once and for all for this this spring season that has and there you have it. This little area right here on the hillside doesn't look like much now, but again, this is a pretty good start at the very least. I left a little patch here of grass, and there's just a plastic mat there I use kind of as a weed killer, weed block. I'll move that out of the way eventually, but yeah, see how I leave a tilled area with the buffer zone of the grass and clay, etc., and some grass here. Now this grass here will be a catchment in case any silt or sediment or fertilizer washes out, it doesn't go away. It'll be caught in this area here and then eventually washed down into the garden, which still, lo and behold, this is again the first week of October. We have ripe Roma tomatoes that need to be harvested today, and tons of green ones. You can just tell the difference right over here, just how lush and green everything is. It is moist, stays very moist. One thing about clay is it will hold moisture. Use it to your advantage. I've not watered this by hand once this whole season, and it's doing fantastic. Now note on the cover crops here, you can see this nice green carpet. Those are not weeds. Those are turnips. Yes, purple top turnips. Now this cover crop here, hopefully, with the same principle as the tillage radishes, the turnips maybe help bust the clay up a little bit, but they are going to help at least give some organic matter to this, as my soil test showed early in the spring that the organic matter was okay, but it definitely needs some help. But again, first year garden, cannot complain too much. And yeah, there you go. It's just a pile of brush here from where I was weeding and pulling out old tomato plants, things like that. There are a couple other tomatoes back here. These are some gigantic heirloom yellow tomatoes. I see a couple back there, but this plant's pretty much done producing. These big things here are not tobacco leaves, guys. These are mustard greens, and they are fantastic. They are growing pretty amazing. Mustard greens grow surprisingly well out here, maybe because the deer just don't like them. Maybe it's the climate, maybe it's the soil, maybe it's all above. I don't know. And still, this pumpkin is trying to vine up, just the deer netting here. It's not going to make it. It will be killed by frost. Well, supposedly in the next 2 weeks, which is normal, but again, the forecast doesn't show anything even remotely close to frost. We're going to get a 46 or 47 degree Fahrenheit day, which is, we'll take it. Things are still going to grow, and I cannot be more happy with this year's first garden, which very little effort really put into it other than the initial clearing, and we'll go from there. So these gigantic pumpkin leaves in here, I'm sure there's one or two massive pumpkins hiding in there, and I'll make a video about that when I get around to harvesting them. So yeah, definitely in the fall, you guys need to start, if you're going to make a new garden, I say do it in the fall, not the spring. That way it gives you a chance to plant your cover crops, get some organic matter in there, get the soil going. That way in the spring, if you want to till it in, you can. If you want to do low till or no till, terminate it how you feel like you need to. But yeah, so there you go. little update from here on the hillside, up on the ridge. We're gonna start getting some of this unsightly weeds cut down and go from there. But yeah, it's been a good season. But again, the season never stops. Just because you harvest doesn't mean you just sit around and do nothing else. There's always something to be done to improve your garden, your farm, your property, whatever it may or may not be. So thanks for watching, guys. Hope this was informative. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you next time up here on the ridge. Get back to work, guys. Bye-bye. So here's a better look at it at the end of the day. Got the weeds cut down, the grass trimmed, and you can see much better the outline of this bed, as I'm very raspy from cutting grass. It's very dusty and dry here, but yeah, see, this is what I was talking about here. A little better view of the amount of dirt and grass at the base of this bed here. And now that I've got all the weeds trimmed down and the, clutter out of the way, I do see with this little bed here, we're going to plant some garlic on this little ledge here. I do have some room to expand it, maybe 3 feet longer, and even maybe another foot or so to your left viewing this. Yeah, so there you go. That's what I'm talking about.